Let's say, can you hear me? We'll have to reestablish contact with him. He can't hear me. So we'll have to reestablish contact with Joseph Yamin, who is the national organizer of the National Democratic Congress. It looks as though he's been on a confiscation spree. It started with some fertilizers and then some gold bars as well. The PMMC actually even issued a statement in relation to this particular development. Let me retrieve that statement and bring that to you. Let's try one more time if we'll be able to get him. Good morning, Mr. Yamin. Can you hear me?
Good morning, I can hear you.
Great. Good to have you. How are you?
Everybody is great. We are good.
It looks like your work in the Ashanti region really did pay off, didn't it?
Well, I should say yes.
You went into the contest expecting to win, but the margins, did it surprise you?
Not at all. I was even expecting a bigger margin.
A bigger margin? So what, you wanted how many seats? 200?
Wanted to take all the seats. In Ashanti, we were looking between a 7 and a 10 seat. So it's surprising we didn't hit the 10, even though we are likely to hit the 10 if the two other seats looked into and declared.
Okay.
So it's going to be a possible rerun of these two constituencies.
So at the moment,
so
at the moment, how many seats do you have in the Ashanti region? 8?
8, yeah.
Okay. So, but before the election, you had how many? 4?
4.
Okay, so you added 4 more.
4 more, and a possible 2 more.
I see. But in general, how would you assess how things turned out in the December 7 elections on the side of the NDC?
Very good for us. I mean, I say that our strategies work to perfection. I kept on saying that the size of your army doesn't determine your victory in a war. It's always how strategic you are. So at a point where we realized that we were fighting against an incumbent that knew it had lost the election on a fair ground and decided to win an election based on rigging. So it's now incumbent on us to look at how we'll be able to tag against their rigging strategies. And so for the first time, I'm sure if you monitor the national executives of the party, each and everybody was honor energizing the people, putting measures in place. For instance, myself, since we launched our campaign in August, I never stepped foot in my office. So as to speak now, I don't even know how my office looks like up to today, because we don't win elections from the offices. We win elections from the ground. My other colleagues were doing same. So the national chairman never followed the flag bearer this campaign. You saw the general secretary administratively handling the party, and other people, youth organizers and people. Everybody was on the ground. So we knew very well that if what we have put in place, the ground was fertile for us, so we should just have means of blocking them from using the other way around, the back door, to win the election, which successfully we got God on our side, had our plans working through. And so we believe from the ground that if we are able to stop them from manipulating the results, stop them from intimidating the people, stop them from exchanging ballot boxes, which they intended to do, we should have a full control of Parliament and win presidential with a wide margin. I, from the onset, believed before the election, knew that we were going to win possible 50 plus 1%. Going forward, I started changing my narrative and was looking at the 52%. Closing up to the election, I knew that the list will be 53 to 56%, which is going to pass.
Well, congratulations are definitely in order. Now,
Thank you.
let's talk about post-elections. You have been quite busy. First of all, though, we saw in the news about the confiscation of some fertilizers, but the very recent one, which we are going to start the conversation on, in terms of the substance of our conversation, is these gold bars that were intercepted. First of all, tell us how you got there, because at the moment the PMMC is accusing you of actually leading a mob to disrupt the process in its assay.
Yes, thank you very much. Looking at the sensitive nature of the substance we are talking about, I decided not to be talking on it in terms of media. So for the whole of yesterday, stayed out this morning, stayed out that, but there are some media houses that if they want to probe into certain issues, you can't. And your station is one of them. I respect you. I listen to you on a daily basis, unless I don't have a network that listen to your morning show. So I couldn't turn down the request to want to give further details into what happened. And that's why I'm speaking to you.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, we take signals, and it's not only about the gold; it's about all other state the materials, wherever it is. We all find ourselves. When we pick any signal, we have to do some background checks to find out whether indeed it's worthy to go in there and make sure it doesn't get to where it's intended to go. And the fertilizers and some cars and other things are example of that. So we take signals that the precious minerals, whatever you call it, the PMMC, were in the process of exporting some gold, which should have come through the DOG, some legal formalities before it gets there. So we needed to monitor these activities, and we did till the Monday we are talking about, where Tuesday, sorry, that we got to find out that they were moving these gold bars to the airport, and the car they were using, which is not from DOG, was tracked and been followed since morning. So they got to the airport to be at this location. Then they moved to another location, The suspicion was that they were trying to ward off all eyes. I don't know if it is something that is legal. You just move in straight. For instance, if you want to travel, if I want to travel, you just move straight to the departure or do our check-ins, whatever, go to the formalities, then you go without looking left or right. Who is looking at me? But if you are not supposed to be traveling or you are moving with some suspicious material, that's where you'll be looking left, right, center to find out if somebody is monitoring. So when we monitored the car to the airport, the car didn't just enter the Aviance arena, where that is where they go through the lab formalities and whatever before final certification is given for the goods to move on to whichever aircraft is taking it. But this car never entered there. We got to a point, it goes to when it suspects that people are looking at it, it moves. So that raised a lot of suspicions. And we still needed to follow this track. And I remember when we finally seized it, I asked the PMC man that, why were you moving from one location to the other if what you were doing was legal? Then he said, oh, as and when the chopper brings the gold, they have to move and go and take it. So at the point, the chopper will come. I don't know how many times the chopper brought gold at that particular day. The precious minerals, they don't take the gold directly from the chopper, that's the helicopter, and just move straight to the airport and want to process it. They have an office. They will have to go through whatever. There should be some way bills and all these things. We ask questions whether they have all these documents to prove that indeed these materials move from this location to that location before it's coming here. So when we monitored it and got finally to the evidence arena, then we had to, at that point, around 4 to 5 p.m., because our suspicion was that we were going to put on Emirates, and Emirates was going to take off around 6 thereabouts. So it was just about being moved to Emirates. Then we had to now move in to ask questions as to what materials are in that car. Now, this is the whole issue. When the car that had the bullion van that had the gold in it was moving, it was moving in a single convoy. Now, another bullion van moved in to now give it protection. That is where we sensed that these people, because they found out that there are some ice moving there, they needed protection. So now the BOG van moves in, come and give escort to them for them to be able to enter. You know, BOG people, when they are coming, they are military, and there are some armed police people that will come in. So they moved in there and had it inside. But we finally had to move in and stop that activity. Now, we went in there, started asking questions, conflicting statements, and I'm surprised. I've read the PMC statement, and I'm surprised. I don't know who wrote it for them and why they will even have to come out with such a statement, because it's going to open up a lot of wounds and expose them the more, because this is
are you
not
saying
just
are you saying that the statements from the PMMC, the Precious Minerals Marketing Company, does not, the statements coming from them does not reflect what happened?
Not at all. Not at all. I don't know who wrote it and whether the person was briefed by the man who was fumbling, who was shivering, who didn't know what to say and was contradicting himself that evening. I'm sure the police had all these things because they were recording everything and putting notes down. When you want to do more inspection into this, you go to the police and they'll give you more details. Now, this is it. So I'm surprised that a statement like that will come out. And I know that it's not coming from the man who was in the heat of affairs, who wrote this thing. Somebody somewhere just wanted to divert attention. When we got there, we now brought in the airport police so that officially the police will handle the matter. We brought in the customs people who gave us a narrative. The first narrative came from the custom head of the cargo section or the airport. And he said that he also picked intel in the morning that some goods were illegally going to be exported out of this country. So they also started with their men tracking this information that they had. So it is not only we. The police also confirmed they also picked signal the same, and their men were on the ground. The national security people were there. They also said they picked this signal, and also the BNI, which is NIB now, also had their people there, that they also picked the same signal in the morning. But none of them could move in to halt the process until we had to move in and now halt it, because probably we were advanced more than them as far as information were concerned. So we asked the man to brief us. Then he said when he finally came to them, they said the goods were in the bullion van, but they confronted them and they said it was in the lab going through formalities to check the purity of the good or whatever and get clearance before it can be moved. So to him, they showed him documents which suggest that it's going through the process which it needs to go through before it's put on board. Now, the car was empty, and that is what they told him. But now that we have moved in, they are now telling him that they had gold in the bullion van. And so now he doesn't know when the gold started moving from the lab, which is a secured place, back into the car. And he asked the PMC man, and he said that because he saw a lot of young men there, he thought it was rather safe in the bullion van than in the lab, which you will have to go through some locks before you get in there. And this didn't make sense to all of us. That hey, the things are in the room. It's difficult for anybody to get into that room. You suspect that people are outside. You want to move these materials back into the car, which are the people surrounding it. Why would you do that? And so there was suspicion on that. Then we now moved in and asked the man, the PMC man, who was there, to also give us a narrative of this whole thing. And the man was just speaking about the bush. Today, at this point, you say Chopper brought them things we have to go and pick it from. At this point, you say, oh, we are scared that people were monitoring all these things. If you are bringing something legally and you see that people are monitoring it and it's not safe for you, why don't you go back and put them in the safe place where you took it from? But you still wanted to force your way through and get these things exported out of the country. Now we asked the BOG head of security who brought into Oshadeni to give us his narrative. And his narrative was also different from the narrative of the PMC. Because the PMC said it's a BOG consignment. Only for the man to say that, no, they were called in by the PMC to come give them protection since they were going to export these goods. And that's mostly what they do is that they export them, they give them protection. And if they are unable to export all the quantity they have, then they will now lead the whole consignment, the reserve one, back to BOG vote for safekeeping. And the next morning, they bring it back to the airport. So the police, they had a police officer for airport police asked a simple question. Are these consignments for the BOG? The man says no. If you leave the BOG with this consignment, he says no. At what point did you join them, bring the materials here? They said that they had to join them halfway because they were there and there was a call that they needed the BOG to help them take these things from there. So now, the material at that point, confirmation from the PMC guy and the BOG head of security now gives us the confidence that it is not Bank of Ghana consignment, and that it is the PMC. So as we were going, we wanted to check and see whether indeed it is good in there, and the ones that are in the lab. You brought documentation, and the quantity was about 400 and something kg, so more than the 400 kilograms that they have brought in there to export. Whilst we were moving in there to go and check these things, people started coming in. You'll be there and they will bring you, the PMC guy will bring you a call, a phone, and that my boss wants to talk to you. Who is your boss? Or is they want to talk to you? I said, no, let us finish what we are doing. I will have enough time to talk to whoever is your boss. The Bank of Ghana guy will also bring the phone and say, my boss wants to talk to you. Who is your boss? He will not say who the boss is. Your boss should be the governor of Bank of Ghana or somebody at the top, since you say the thing is for them. But you say, my boss wants to talk to you. I say, I won't talk to anybody. Let's finish what we are doing. Now we have enough time to talk about these things. Now, people started coming in, and when they come, they also start making conflicting statements, especially one person that came and introduced himself as coming from BOG's finance department or whatever. When we finally decided that, okay, this consignment can move out of the country until proper clarity is given on the ownership of this thing, why it's supposed to go, who is going to pick it, and all this. We are now looking at a safe grounds to keep them, that we could start the investigations and all this. So we now agreed that there's a safe at the Swiss spot at the cargo section of the airport. And if we could all agree, all of us agree, including myself who led the operation, would agree that we should go and dump the thing in that safe place, lock it, and wait for the next day. I agreed and said, yes, wherever the thing will be saved, as long as it's not leaving the shores of this country, I am okay with it. Then this man comes in and say that no, they have to take it to BOG because the consignment is for BOG. So I back in and say, my friend, don't complicate matters. Don't contradict yourself. Before you came, your head of security has told us that the thing didn't come from BOG. It is not BOG consignment. The PMMC man is saying that they had these goods from private refineries. And when chopper brings them from this refinery, then they will go and pick them. And you are now telling us that the thing is for BOG. And so the safest place to go and keep them till the next morning was BOG vote. So we are getting more confused. And at that point, he gave us grounds to cement whatever suspicions we had. So that is how it all ended when we finally decided to take it to the police headquarters, put them in the van, go there, get people to guard the van, and wait for the next day. Only for me to, yesterday, you read a statement from the TMMC alleging differently on this subject.
So, in the statement, they say that this gold in question is part of the domestic gold purchase program, DGPP, that they have with the Bank of Ghana. It was launched as far back as 2021. You say that in the interactions you had with the PMMC as well as the BOG on the day of the incident, both of them gave different accounts. BOG said they had no idea about this gold, yet PMMC also had said that this was for the Bank of Ghana, correct?
Okay, so let me clear it further for you. The PMMC guy says that the gold they were exporting was from private refineries. That is what they told us.
Okay.
In the presence of all the security people. And our question was straight. Is it for Bank of Ghana? Because the gold for oil, whatever trade, is done by the Bank of Ghana, not PMMC. PMMC buys these goods, and government of Ghana takes it. Immediately, the government of Ghana take possession of it to do the exchange program. It has to be in the safety and the care of Bank of Ghana. PMMC washes its hands off these gold because it's now the property of the state. At this point, as we were talking, PMMC told us that they also do exporting for private trade.
Okay.
And so, this gold we're talking about is not gold that they picked from Bank of Ghana.
Okay, they picked it from private.
Yes, and so
private refineries.
And they export it for them. All they did that day was to get Bank of Ghana security to come and police them to the safer grounds of the airport for them to be able to do the transaction. That is from the PMMC guy that time. Then we asked the head of security of Bank of Ghana who brought it, that is the consignment for Bank of Ghana. He categorically stated that no. So the police commander asked him, at what point did you join the consignment to the airport? They said they were called in the PMMC were in the process of exporting the gold out of the country, and that they should come in, and should, in case they are unable to finish the process today, they can take the things back to Bank of Ghana, safe grounds. The gold in question had two separate boxes, friend. And I asked the question. I have all these videos I'm talking about on my phone.
So
two. Let me clear it.
Okay.
Two boxes. So I asked the question, why is the box in the car different from the 17 other boxes? Then the PMMC guy says that they are going to 2 different locations. And so the one in the car, the first one they moved before we stopped them, was heading to a different location. And the 17 others that are in the same box, same description, were also moving to one location. So now who comes in and tell me that it is the oil for trade, whatever transaction of the Bank of Ghana processes that were being followed and got disrupted by my team?
Domestic gold purchase program. Now, so you are telling us that what they told you on the ground is clearly different from what they are saying in their statements.
Very, very different. Different.
In that the gold belonged to the Bank of Ghana as part of the domestic gold purchase program. You say that on the ground, when you asked the PMMC, they had said that these were from private refineries and they had resorted to the use of the Bank of Ghana as a form of security, correct?
Sure. Now,
okay.
If the Bank of Ghana is exported, like I told you, the precious minerals marketing company, their core function is to buy the gold. Their duty, if BOG wants to do their transaction, they don't need PMMC to execute the transaction. They only need PMMC to get them the gold for the transaction. And so if PMMC gets the gold, they don't bring the gold to the airport for BOG to come and export them. BOG has a vote specifically for keeping gold. And so if they want to move their gold in exchange of oil, they don't need PMMC to escort them. They just move it in their vans straight to the airport, get documentations right, and they move. Before Bank of Ghana will export their gold, they would have gone through the lab exercises and got all the purity and everything cleared, and they move straight and will get into the thing. But PMMC, the gold they brought, they have to take it to the lab, get it tested, get to know the purity of the gold before packaging and sending it. So clearly, it was a private transaction that was going on. Why would they bring in Bank of Ghana? And now again, if the goods are for Bank of Ghana, a state entity that we are protecting, you think that it is difficult for the governor of Bank of Ghana to pick a phone and call Yamin? Yes. We are just about executing this transaction. I'm told that you are there if intercepted. Is it difficult for him to do that? Is it difficult for any top official of Bank of Ghana to have called me and say that, Yamin, this process you are halting is going to affect the country, the one that you'll be taking over in just some 2 weeks to come, where probably we may not even get fuel for you guys to. Is it difficult? Is it difficult for the National Security Coordinator or Minister call Yamin, who he can call at any point in time, and say that, Yamin, this is something that is legally, and so you can, if you can allow process, or can we give you clarity? None from anywhere. But all the calls I was receiving was from PMMC that they want to talk to me privately. Talk to me privately on what? And the next morning you are issuing such a statement. There's more to it. And we want to find out what it is. I told them that, look, I'm not interested in it. As I speak with you, I'm in the Upper West region. I was moving out to the Upper West region. So my issue was to ensure that what is being exported out of the country is illegal for it to be done, and that nobody is passing through the back door to cheat the nation. If I got clarity at that point that, oh, these things are legal, these things are normal, it has to go through whatever, we would have even gotten to this point. But everybody was running away. Why would you run away if what you are doing is right? Only for you to come and issue a statement in the form they issued yesterday, contradicting what it is. speaking differently from the exact thing. And look, they should be prepared because some of us are not going to sit back. We'll come out. Every step we took, we had videos of them, just for evidence sake. And that's why I'm saying that whoever wrote that probably didn't consult the person who was there, who was contradicting himself, who was shivering. At the point, the policeman will have to tell the man, brother, slow down, calm down. Don't just talk. Because you are giving us information we have not even asked you for. Calm down. And when you relax, you can give us some better details. But we'll have to go to the end of this
Now, Mr. Yamin, you know, in a part of the statement, you mentioned in your explanation, you mentioned that on the grounds they explained to you that these bars were coming from a private refinery. Yet in the statement they say that it belongs to the Bank of Ghana. Well,
that's where I'm shocked about.
Also, in another part of the statement, they mentioned that, you know, bars also belonging to some. To a private company. So let me just read excerpts of that. They say that this unlawful action is deeply regrettable and has the potential to cause significant harm to Ghana's reputation on the international bullion market. Such disruptions not only undermine the confidence of legitimate. Let me just skip that. But essentially, they say that there was a private exporter who was caught up in this because their gold was also part of this particular consignment. And so it is worrying. Does it not feed into what they told you earlier, that this particular gold did also belong to some private individuals?
I'm surprised. So that's what I said when I read the story. Not only did I laugh, but I was also shocked that the PMMC will issue it, and the PMMC will be talking for Bank of Ghana. Why? Bank of Ghana also issue a statement claiming ownership of this. If it is from two entities, Bank of Ghana's portion as well as the PMMC, will Bank of Ghana not speak? Nowhere did we find from their narrative on the ground that the thing was going to whether a genuine source of the Bank of Ghana's transaction and someone going to a different location. We wanted to know if it was from Bank of Ghana. Then both of them told us it's not from Bank of Ghana and that they were transacting it, but it is legal. They do so.
Okay.
On daily basis, and our signal even told us that before this consignment was confiscated, they were able to have put about 100 kilos onto KLM that left earlier. So the ones that were moving on to Emirates is the one we were able to stop. And so they do this, and they told us, they gave us legal documents that they do this on daily basis through that. So this one we are talking about has nothing to do with Bank of Ghana. And I'm saying that if Bank of Ghana wants to do a transaction, they do it on their own because they have what it takes to do it. PMMC doesn't do it on their behalf. Secondly, if Bank of Ghana's consignment was what was intercepted, Bank of Ghana officials, including the governor, have easy access to Yamin to clear it. Then say that, look, Yamin, at this point, they could have even drove from wherever they are to the airport and start to sit down with us and clear the whole issue with all the documentation. When we're asking, they don't even have legal documents. They are now saying, oh, when we go onto their system, we can pull it out. They didn't have hard copies of whatever the transactions that they were going through. We have to get them to go into the aviance or whatever and bring documents. We took them more than 30 minutes before they came in with some documents.
Okay. Now, one of the issues that have come up in the aftermath of this, from the fertilizer now to the gold bars and all, the question many of us is that in what capacity are you intercepting these goods?
In this country, we have citizens arrest, right? So now you have every right to arrest somebody and go and give the person to the police if you suspect that the person is a thief. Don't we have that right? And that's why we didn't intercept it and keep it. And before we even moved into action, we called the police. The police had already, when we got there, given us information that they also picked that signal and they were just monitoring it to get to a stage where they could arrest the PNI, the National Security, the Airport Customs Division. Were all saying exactly what we were saying. Just that we went ahead of them to stop the whole exercise. So we did our duty as very good citizens of this country that would stop people from doing some illegal activities in the name of Ghana. We are finished. We've handed it to the authorities for the authorities to do better and better investigations to find out who really owns these things. For instance, with the fertilizer as we speak now, no one has come claiming ownership of it. But somebody dumped it there. The fertilizers don't have legs to walk to the house that they were. Somebody drove these fertilizers into that house. That person, 4 days from the day these fertilizers were confiscated, has still not showed up. Wouldn't he come out and say that it is mine? These are documents covering it. It's meant for this. It's being kept here for this reason. Why? Nobody is coming out. So he said that when I see these things, I should close my eyes and say that the authorities should be able to do it when the authorities are unable to get to this level. No, we confiscated some of these fertilizers in Agogo and handed them to the police. Only for us yesterday, we told that some people moved to the police station, requested to take 50 of them, and the police allowed them to take 50 out of the consignment that were placed under the police protection, that they should hold it on till the Agric Ministry comes to give us documents that prove that it is theirs or otherwise. The people came in and the police had to give them some part of the consignment.
And who are these people? Who are these people? Are they with the ministry?
No, a chief. So when they said that I've ordered that they shouldn't give them these things, I heard a man speaking on top of his voice behind. Who is Yamin? Who is Yamin? But he is a chief. He doesn't work for Ministry of Agri. He doesn't work for the District Assembly. But he had gone in there to go and take and said they were going to give it to farmers. So at what point will we be able to say that we are confident we are giving the police a lead to these things? This lead that they picked and they said they were working on, by the time they concluded, 100 kilograms of gold had already left the shores of this country on KLM.
So essentially you're saying that, are you saying that you do not trust the police because even with the intel, they could not stop the one you are alleging left on the KLM flight? That had you not moved in, perhaps the one that was going to move on Emirates perhaps would equally have left.
Of course. Probably maybe their bureaucratic system of investigating and getting to the crime, by the time they get there, is gone. So we'll help them to get it. If we are faster than them, fine. If they are faster than us, we are okay. Because it saves me. I was supposed to come to the Upper West region. The whole day I spent in the airport tracking these issues. We left the airport around 11 p.m., which is stressful. If the police had gone in there, intercepted it as early as the thing got to the airport, I think some of us wouldn't go through this stress. But when we have to go to that level, we will do it to save the people of this country, to save the country, that people do not use the country for their personal gains.
Are you in any way working in conjunction with the recently formed team to collect information from the public in relation to suspected loot? That is the oral team.
The oral team is different from what we are doing.
Okay, so yours is just citizens arrest and you being vigilant.
We are just making sure that people do not take assets that belongs to the country.
There are those who have expressed concern that this could probably, lead to chaos. PMMC, for instance, is saying that this development could actually even, ruin the country's reputation when it comes to the export of gold.
It is going to ruin the country's reputation because an illegality has been stopped. Is that what PMC wants to tell us? I think that the people who trade in gold the genuine ones, will want their names to be involved in such activities. So those that will say that they are not happy are the ones that read through the back door, the illegal means. We are going to make sure that whoever is in this country to do business with this country goes through the proper channels of doing business, that every revenue that is supposed to come to the state will come before the person takes possession of whatever interest they have. That is exactly what we're going to do. We don't care what people's perception about Ghana is, as far as we are doing the right thing.
And finally, the statement from the PMMC, one thing they said was that it is important that to emphasize that a simple verification with the relevant authorities, including PMMC and the Bank of Ghana, would have clarified the legitimacy of the process and avoided such an embarrassing and damaging situation.
That thing, get to them. I am so embarrassed with that statement. And look, we are ready for them. I am ready for them. I'm saying the people didn't hold any document as far as this transaction was concerned. We had to request for it before they went in there to print certain documents, which we have, and going through it. The man in question, the PMMC guy bringing the material, when we asked him the quantity, he was unable to tell us. We asked him how many bars are in the van and how many bars are in the lab. The man is unable to tell us. The man who was brought in legal goods that PMMC is talking about didn't know the quantity that were on the car that he was bringing to come and export. Does it make sense to you now? Does it clear your mind? That the person who is coming to export doesn't know. We asked him, how many bars of gold in terms of kilos? How many were you going to export? The man cannot give us figure. He said around 400. How many do you have in the car? And how many do you have in the lab? The man doesn't know. When we went in the lab and the ones they have packed, I asked a question, and I'm saying that I have all these videos. PMC should be prepared for me, because I will go all out for them. For them, when we will expose all of them. Look, when I asked them, after all these things that they have put in the seals, they have sealed everything, but the quantity, I mean the kilo, was not written on the summary sheet placed on these boxes. Because each box, you should know whatever kilo is contained in the box. How many bars? I made them break one of the seal, and I counted 8 bars of gold in one of the box. So I asked them, how many kilos are we talking out of the 8 bars? And why haven't you written it on, so that when I pick it, I can say that this box contains 8 kg of it? They have finished all the documentation, and these things were going to move on to the flight to go. And you don't know how many kilograms were contained in one of the box. It hasn't been written on it. And you want to tell me that it's a legal transaction that is going on? PMC will not also do their checks, and you are telling me that I should have cross-checked from PMC or BOG before I will go in there and stop an illegal transaction. They will have to now come and tell us that, look, these were illegal and these are the documents. So if you can allow the process to continue, that's what they should come and do now.
Right. Okay. We'll see what becomes of this in the coming days. Thank you so much for speaking to us. We're grateful for your time, sir.
You're welcome, man.
You had us speak to the national organizer of the National Democratic Congress, Joseph Yamin, and we're speaking to him in relation to some gold bars that were retrieved from the airport. And, well, the PMMC says that these bars belong to the Bank of Ghana as part of their domestic gold exchange program. Let me be certain of it. The domestic gold purchase program is as part of that program that they have with the Bank of Ghana. And, Joseph Yamin says that they were not able to provide answers to buttress the points they are making in this statement. And so he finds it very surprising. And the answers they gave them yesterday when they queried them about, some documents regarding or some details regarding this gold, the answers they gave were very different compared to what is contained in the statement. He says he has evidence and videos to back the point. So we wait to see what will become of this. We know that the police is investigating it at the moment. And so we will keep a close eye on it and then bring you the details as and when we have them. You're still listening to the Morning Star here on Star 103.5 FM.